For this demonstration of queries, we're going to open the Video Shop database, which is already prepared. We're going to work on queries. And what are queries? There are questions you can ask your database that are difficult to answer. I'll just open this table here. When you've got a table, a large table full of lots of data, it could be full of thousands of records. For example, in these crime investigation programs, you may wish to narrow down a list of suspects by description. Or if you are looking for a table with hundreds of customers to find out how many of the customers are overdue payments, if you want to answer questions like that very quickly, the query is the way to do it. So I have an exercise sheet here with a few queries or questions about this Video Shop database that I want to answer. List of films released in 1990, sorted in alphabetical order. I want to show the title, cast and certificate of the films. We're going to start by clicking on Create, and we're going to go over and we're going to jump into the query design straight away. So we have a blank query, and the first thing you're asked is, what table are we going to base the query on? There's only one table in this database. You can see that in the objects pane here, and you can see it's called TBL video. So we're going to add that to our query and close it off. Now at the moment, this area here shows the design of our query and what fields we wish to display. We're going to show the title, cast and certificates of the films. We also need to include the year of the films as well, because the query is based on the year of the film. By double clicking, certificate, by double clicking, and cast, double clicking. We also need to include a year in the query. However, we're not going to display it, so you just untick the show button here to undisplay that. The criteria is about the year of the film. So in the criteria box that corresponds to the year, you just put down equals 1990. So that should show all the films when I run my query by clicking on the button up here, released in 1990. So there we go, there's the 4 films released in 1990. Now it also requests that we put those in alphabetical order. To do that, I need to return to my design view. And for the title of the film, I need to sort ascending or A to Z in alphabetical order. So when I run my query now, the films are sorted in alphabetical order. Now the final thing it has to do is to save the query. So if you just go to close off the query and ask you to save the changes, we'll save it with the prefix QRY for query in 1990. Once the query is closed, it's not visible in the objects pane because at the moment we're only displaying tables in the objects pane. So if I drop down the objects pane and select to view all access objects, I can see the query along with the tables that are available. Okay, let's move to our second query. Show the titles in alphabetical order and the length of any films less than 100 minutes in length. We'll set up our new query again by going to Create. Start with our query design. Again, there's only one table we wish to use for this query, so we'll add that. I'll close it off. Now we wish to view the title by double clicking, and the other field we wish to view is the length. And the criteria we wish to apply is we wish to sort the title by alphabetical order. So if we run that query at the moment, we'll see all films listed in alphabetical order, but we only want to see the films that are less than 100 minutes in length. So let's return to our design view and put criteria in that corresponds to the length of the video. Using a mathematical symbol for less than 100 minutes for our film. I'm going to run this. You can see that's a list of all the films in alphabetical order that are less than 100 minutes in length, and we can see the length of those films. So we're going to close that query, and we're prompted to save. We'll see if this is QRY short films. And when we click OK, you'll see In the left hand pane, this new query now appears as saved along with the first query that we created. Show the title and year of all films that include Harrison Ford with the list sorted in order of years. See here, when I look at my table, you can see there are many films starring Harrison Ford, but that also star other actors. So if you query directly for the name Harrison Ford, you may not get a hit. We'll just look at that now. So again, create a query using the design. Just like before, we'll add our table, our only table in our database. And we want to pick out the title, the year, and we'll be looking at the cast. Now we don't want to display the cast. We just want all we want to know about the cast is that Harrison Ford is amongst the cast. So we'll just untake that. Sorted in order of year, starting with the lowest year and ending with the most recent year. So it's an ascending list. So we'll just run that query to investigate that we now have the title of all the films sorted in order of year, as you can see here. Let's go back to the design now and pick out the ones just with Harrison Ford. So if you put in Harrison Ford into the criteria and run that query, it'll come up with no films. However, if we go back into our query design and we put in the wildcard character, so it can account for any other writing, any other names that appear either side of the name Harrison Ford, by using the star or wildcard character, holding down Shift and 8 on your keyboard at the same time. Before and after the name Harrison Ford, it should be able to identify the fields that include Harrison Ford amongst the cast. So you can see there's 4 films on the list, listed in order of year. And again, we'll just close that query and make sure we save as and again it appears in our left pane.